Now to South Africa, where a government-appointed panel has been investigating a wildlife mystery off its shores. The sightings of great white sharks, a vital part of Cape Town's tourism industry, have gone missing. Bloomberg's Anthony Squazin joins me now from Johannesburg for more. So in 2 years, Anthony, there's only been one sighting from shore of a great white shark. And though climate was initially thought to be the culprit, the panel found out that it's not the case, right?
Yes, there's been, not just from shore, there's been one confirmed sighting in False Bay, which is the bay that lies off the eastern part of Cape Town, and it's where the great whites traditionally have lived or have been seen a lot. So yes, initially when they disappeared 2 years ago, there were a lot of theories. One was climate, the water might be getting warmer or colder. Another was that there'd been overfishing of prey species, small sharks, superfin sharks, and smoothhorn sharks were being fished out, and they thought maybe the great whites had moved because they needed more food. And then also the orcas were also present, and one or two scientists posited that as a theory because something similar happened a couple of decades ago off California.
And it turns out it was the orcas, or also known as killer whales, to blame, because great white sharks do not like to be around them for a very good reason, right?
Well, exactly. What they've done is they've correlated the fall in fish stocks all the way down the South African coast. And they found that, well, there are no great whites in False Bay and Gansbaai, which is just a little bit to the east of Cape Town. There have been increased sightings in Mossel Bay and further down the coast. And there's not many prey species there. So they've correlated that and figured it must be the two orcas. Just two orcas, known as Port and Starboard, who specialize in killing and eating sharks. And they're very specific. They kill the sharks, rip their livers out, which evidently a great white liver can weigh 600 pounds, and eat that and leave the carcasses, which often wash up on shore.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm just going through the images of this actually happening in my head, and these killer whales certainly earning their nickname as killer whales. This has serious economic effects, though, because for tourism, the great whites attract lots and lots of money. Take us through what's going on.
Well, they do. Cape Town is South Africa's premier tourist venue, and a lot of foreign tourists come there. And, one of the things in the package of things you can do is you can go out in a boat and you can either view great whites off Seal Island, where there's a few thousand seals and the great whites sort of circle the island, eat the odd seal. Or you can even jump into a cage in a scuba kit and watch the sharks. Now, that industry is really struggling now because there's no sharks to see. They've tried to show people other sharks, but, the great white is 3 or 4 times bigger than many other sharks. It's an apex predator, and that's what people want to see. They don't want to see a bronze whaler or a 7-gill, which are smaller and not very exciting in comparison. So it's been a bit of a disaster for those people.
What are the ripple effects of the disappearance of great white sharks for the ecosystem there? I mean, does it have any effect on other species?
It's a bit early to tell. It's only been 2 years, but that is the subject of a lot of research. And this sharks panel that was appointed by the government, this is just the first part of their findings. They've made a recommendation, and a lot of the recommendations are for further research about the impacts. They're planning to do a lot of surveys by drone, cameras attached to ships, all sorts of things. They're trying to find out, because obviously great whites, primarily in False Bay, they primarily eat seals. So that's 60% of their diet. But they eat a lot of other fish. So, suddenly they've seen different behavior in the seals. The seals used to cluster around Seal Island. Now they've been seen far out at sea, basking happily. They don't seem to be very frightened of anything. So they're going out and fishing further and further away from the island. And the prey species such as yellowtail are no longer pursued by the sharks. That might have an impact. 7-gill sharks, which are big sharks in their own right, but not particularly aggressive, have come out of the kelp forests because they used to be eaten by the great whites and are now, seen in False Bay quite a lot. So there have been a lot of changes, and it's going to take a few years to play out, and they may come back. The orcas may not stay there. Because as I said, it's just 2 orcas, and orcas don't always hunt sharks. Just these 2 do. They normally specialize in something, and these 2 seems to be what they want to do. But if they move off, the sharks may come back in a year or 2.
Bloomberg's Anthony Squazin in Johannesburg. It's a fascinating article. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you taking it. Thanks.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.